Hey, VC, Vinyl Community, what's up? It's my third recent vinyl finds. These aren't so recent, but they're the records that are sort of in this room. This is the Clean and Humble Annex, aka my parents' house. But yeah, I have a recording studio that I live at, and I end up here because there's free food. Anyway, I have a bunch of 45's that I'm going to show.
It's 12 o'clock.
That's my computer telling me it's 12 o'clock. It's various excursions I picked these up on, and I'll sort of tell you where I got them as I go. Okay, so this first thing is, I'm going to show all 45's again, by the way. Strange Situation by Strangers. I found this in the basement of a bookstore that I sometimes do catering at when I'm hard up for cash in New York. And they have records. They sell records, but the person sorting the records, this is on Robin Records. Strange Situation by Strangers. Ride My Pony is the B-side. I just had a really weird cover. I don't even remember what this sounds like. Kind of like garage rock, I think. Just look at that cover. It's really odd. I was like, what is this? Anyway, they have a bunch of records in the basement that I get to go through when I am on a break doing catering. And the guy who sorts the records, I don't know what he's doing. They have like 5 bins of classical. And not like great classical that like Jeff collects and stuff like that. Like crappy classical. So I don't know. I tend to go through and find weird stuff like that occasionally. If anybody knows anything about this, tell me. Please tell me, because I didn't really look it up, but I sort of can. But Strangers, Strange Situation. I gotta get better at like being better vinyl collecting nerd, looking things up and caring about stuff. I don't know. I'm just kind of I just listen and sample and I don't know. This is Information Society, Walking Away. I grew up with this kind of music. I'd like to call this like, intelligent dance music. This is like intelligent Guido music, if I could say that. Information Society, Walking Away on one side, and Make It Funkier on the other side. Running, I believe. Was it Running, Information Society? That was like their big tune. I don't know. I'm just kind of a sucker for like hip-hop related label vinyl with picture sleeves. Kind of want to start collecting that. Also from the same basement, bookstore basement. This is, if you heard in my other post, me talking about when my friend Peter and Carl and my nephew Dom, who I used to do the show with, and I'm still sore about that we don't do the show anymore, they went on a record hunt, and they were nice enough to buy me records, which was very sweet of them, because I wasn't there and wasn't able to come. This is called Alderandelius. It's on Scram, I think. It's called Scram? Scam Records. Gray vinyl. It's like minimal IDM-ish, electronic something or other. I've got a big thing for trying to collect brain dance, IDM, whatever you call it, on 7-inch. I had this little dream of DJing a whole set of IDM for no one, because not many people actually like this kind of music, at least not in New York. All out of a 45 box. That was like my little dream. And there's a little insert that comes with it of an escalator, which is nice. And yeah, I haven't played this a lot. I remember it sounding very minimal and sort of maybe a little, I don't want to say Autekra, but kind of a little ambient at times, then a little harsh on the other side, I think. I don't remember. From that same day, they were like, oh, we think you like this guy. Dub Narcotic Sound System, Calvin from K Records. And yeah, they're right. I like Calvin. I like how he pretends to be Coxswain when he makes these records. And, this is called Bite. And there's a B-side that's like the mono version. Yeah, I like Dub Narcotic to a degree. So, when you know what dub is really supposed to sound like, I'm a little bit of a dub snob, but, it's interesting. Some indie rock guys pretending to do dub, that's kind of cool. And I like his studio and stuff. Booty Run, and I was a big fan of Beat Happening, so. Booty Run with a version. Dub Narcotic on K. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of these. I have a little timer on here. Here's another one. If anybody knows anything about this, this is also one that I found in that bookstore basement. Hand Grenades? Demo to London and Coma Das? Coma, is that like Spanish or something? This is like hardcore sounding, but really, really cool and weird, and there's absolutely nothing on the label. It's like a totally white label, and this is all you got to go on, is that cover. And, again, not a good record nerd, didn't look it up, didn't try to find stuff out about it, so if anybody in the VC knows about Hand Grenades, tell me. Tell me if this is, like, the best thing in the world that I ever found. It sounds good. Okay, one day, I think I showed this in my other 45 video. I was at Academy Records in Williamsburg, and I made a face about Williamsburg. And I went through the 45 bins, and I found this box set on Rocket Tracer Records. And it has 4 bands. It's like a 4-band box set. And I admire the effort. I didn't know who they were. I just thought, like, oh, wow, it was cheap. It was like $2 maybe or less. Portal, The End/Oars, Yellow 6, Lackluster, Styrofoam, and Tank. And, it comes in this box, and it has these cool, they all have the little label on there. It has a cool little story, and, I support, like, it seems like they're local. No, maybe they're not local. I forget where they're from. But, it's good to see stuff like this. San Diego, I guess? Yeah, they're from San Diego. I mean, I can't remember which one was my favorite. Maybe it was Styrofoam or Portal. I don't remember, but I wouldn't say every 7-inch is a winner, but it was not bad for like $2. Nobukazu Takamura. I heard this in Carl's house for the first time, and I love his music. It's really repetitive and minimal. Blue vinyl. I was happy to see this, and it was cheap. Also from Academy Records. This, Napalm Raid, Corruption of Their Little Minds. Got this in Toronto. Shout-outs to Dan, even though he is not shouting me back. But hey, whatever. Yeah, this is like, it sounds like crusty punk, squatter punk maybe. I don't know, Canadian punk. Out of Sight, Out of Mind, Dead Cities, Means for War, Something to Lose, Brainwash, Tomorrow's Reality. I was just like, I bought this because when I was in Canada, I couldn't find a lot of 7-inches, and I was like determined to go home with some that were cool, and I was really into the idea of getting local music or Canadian. I was looking for Shadowy Men and a Shadowy Planet's first album on CD, because I have their other 2 albums on CD, which I might show if there's time. But yeah, I couldn't find it anywhere. People in record stores were happy that I was asking for a Canadian band, but they were like, yeah, good luck, dude. Should have came here in 1992. Bookstore Basement, Elvis Costello, Stranger in the House, on BZZ Records, along with Neat Neat Neat, which Peter Gunn, my friend, informed me that is a Damned cover. Pretty good. Also, another Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Talking in the Dark, and Wednesday Week. Great picture sleeves, I'm a big Elvis Costello fan. I know some people might, wince at that, and some people might be like, yeah, me too. I've noticed that Elvis Costello, you either love him or hate him. But he's had a big influence on my own songwriting, and, just good stuff. And also, in Canada, in Toronto, in Sonic Boom, I just was dying to go home with 45's, and the first time I heard the evens, I was like, I don't know if I'm into this, but I have to say this 7-inch is really good. Timothy Wright and Warble Factor. Funny thing about Warble Factor is when I was playing it, I really thought my portable turntable had a problem, and ended up sending it back and having a big argument with the Ion company, and it turns out there was nothing wrong with it. I don't know. I was going to do a video on that, and then when they sent it back and there was nothing wrong with it, whatever. So let's see. I timed myself here. Let's see how much time I got left. I got 9 minutes left. Alright, I could show a bunch more. I wasn't going to get into these, but these are all the 7-inches that I found in Toronto at Play D Record when I was like dying to go home with 45's because I took the bus. So I'll try to get through these. And my girlfriend was sort of sitting there being like, come on. But anyway, nah, she wasn't. Anyway, Boiling Water, the Soul Stoppers Band, and Got a Nice Buzz, UFO, on Royal Records. I can't remember exactly what this sounded like, but it was funk, definitely. It was like, new school funk, but really cool. And really happy to find it for like $1. I got some French stuff. Jean-François Michel, Premier Mat d'Amour, and Je pensais à toi. I can't speak French. But my friend Peter, big into French music, and I don't know if he said these were good or not. They sound a little like 60s disc, Vogue disc. So that was cool. Let's see, Feets and Hips, The Sophistications. With the other side, Feets and Hips. This sounds like reggae guys doing funk. Sort of like, who's that dude who does the... you know what I'm talking about. The dude with the song, with the pot of coffee. No, what's his name? With the back of the... what's it called? I can't remember, but it sounds like that reggae guy who makes funk records. He makes like funk... He's done some funk songs. That sounds like that. Feets and Hips. The Sophistications. I'm going to think of who that is. Speaking of reggae, Big Youth, Hell is for Heroes, and African Daughter. Was happy to find this with the little Big Youth head. Hey, I'm a big youth fan. And this is a little beat up, but it still plays, no skips. Lonely Street, Pat Dillon. This is what I was looking for, specifically. Not expect this record, but Canadian-produced records. Canadian records. When I was in Toronto, this is a good example, I was told by my pal Peter, a good example of Canadian-released reggae. Lonely Street, Pat Dillon, and Danny Ray and Pat Dillon, Easy Loving. I mean, it's 70s sounding reggae, kind of like Desmond Decker, Jimmy Cliff, but like a little even not hokier and stuff. But it was good, and it was Canadian, so yay. Skylarking by Silly B and Xerox with a version. I think this was like a really crappy 80s, 90s version of Skylarking, and it was kind of terrible. Dub the Area, Chosen People Band, and Rub-a-Dub in the Area, Chosen People Band. I think this says Jamaica, but I think this is also kind of like Canadian produced reggae, and I don't remember what it sounded like. York, Don't Leave Me, Albert Lynch, B-side version. So this is also reggae from Canada. And I don't know if it was recorded in Canada. It looks like it's Jamaican, but I think it's, distributed in Canada. This, I can't remember if I found this in Toronto or not, but Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Furious Five, Step Off. What I like about this is, first of all, Sugar Hill on 45. I'm a big Sugar Hill collector. I kind of want to have every Sugar Hill record. It's a little goal of mine, and I have a lot, and I'll show them when I'm at the studio. But this is the Chaka Khan, like, rap part, I didn't even know that was Melly Mel. Maybe it's not. Maybe Melly Mel just, did a version of it. I don't know. But It's just the rap part, and it's really cool. It's a little beat up, but it plays and there's no skips. Amazulu. I bought this because of the Young Ones. I watched the Young Ones when I was growing up and obsessed with England and being a skinhead and whatnot. And Montego Bay and Only Love. And I don't know. It's hokey, but I like Amazulu. Another French one. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Mes Nuits d'Amour. Jeanette Menard. This is Trans Canada. I think I bought it just because of the label and was on that kick of like, I'm in Canada, I gotta buy Canadian release things. Okay, this Bondage on the Boulevard by Skyhooks. This is very crappy. White skin, black sheets. This is, and it says Toronto all over it. This is like bad rock, but I'm gonna sample this because I remember there being a weird part or a break or something. So. Yeah. One Dance Story, Brigadier Jerry. My friend produces a lot of reggae, and he was a big fan of Brigadier Jerry. And I feel like I've heard this song on one of his mixtapes, and there's a version side. And I think he even knows Brigadier Jerry these days. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it was cool to find in Canada for $1. South Carolina. And Shout. This is modern reggae crapness on the Fashion Records label. I don't even want to talk about it. Okay, I don't know how this got in here, but this is a record I found in Naples, Italy. I went searching for records while I was there, and I hit the jackpot right by the water. There's like a store that had a big bunch of records. And this is like Italian-produced like disco, or maybe it's American band. But I know there's something about this that's Italian. It's an Italian release, I think. But Chocolates, Signorita, por favor. I don't understand. But I do collect Italian music because they just get American music really wrong. And I just find a joy in that. I'll show some of my Italian records at some point. And Adam and Eve, General Echo. This is a dope track. I like this kind of era dancehall on Technique's label. R.I.P. Winston Riley, the version. And I believe the version is like the typical Winston Riley version of, the one that's on every B-side of his. The dun 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 dun. Is it the Bam Bam version? I don't remember. Whip Appeal, Echo Minet, with the version on Jammies. So that is the bulk of the records I found, the 45's I found in Canada. And let's see, got 1 minute left. Let's see if I could show the Shadowy Men on Shadowy Planet. Since this is a Canadian, we're on the Canadian tip. Oh, come on. There they are. Okay, so I was on this excursion to find the first LP because I have Dim the Lights, Chill the Ham, and I have Sport Fishing. I was a huge fan of Kids in the Hall, and when I was going to Toronto, I was like all psyched, and I was like, yeah, kind of trying to get into it by listening to these and watching lots of Kids in the Hall episodes. I know that sounds retarded, but, whatever. Had a great time in Canada, and I would definitely go back. But I really need the first Shadowy Men album. And what I really loved when I got these is that I think there's like an address, and I mailed away for the catalog, and it was like a collage, and it had Sammy Davis Jr. on it. And it's just, fortune-telling chicken, and I loved the incidental music on Kids in the Hall. So just looking out for the first CD. I'm probably going to have to get it off eBay just to complete it. I'd really like to have these on vinyl too, but kind of like if I started on CD, I completed on CD, kind of. Except for jazz. There was like a weird period in the 90s where I bought a bunch of jazz and Blue Note on CD, and I really regret it. Anyway, that's my third recent vinyl finds. Again, thanks for having me in the vinyl community, and definitely put up some more videos soon. And I'm going to do some episodes of Yo Look What I Found, too. Alright, thanks, VC.